Hello, my name's Sarah Holland. I'm your fertility calm coach from fertilemindset.com. Now today I'm going to be speaking to you about the 3 top mistakes that I see people make that can make their fertility journey longer. It can make it less likely to be successful, and along the way make the whole fertility journey more stressful and more uncomfortable too. So I want to go through these 3 with you, which I see lots and lots of people make, and they do these with the best of intentions, really believing that these things will help them on their fertility journey. But once we take a deeper look into them, we see how actually they can cause so many problems. So I just want to go through these 3 with you and see if we can help turn things around and make some positive shifts on your fertility journey. I've got my notes with me because I know I wouldn't remember everything I want to share with you, so excuse me if I do look down a little bit at my notes. So my first mistake that I see people making is doing too much on their fertility journey. Now, actually, people mostly say to me that they're worried they're not doing enough. I hear that so often, especially when, say, they're preparing for an IVF cycle and they've got to the day where it's starting, or they're just waiting to find out if they are pregnant, and then all these thoughts come in about, I wonder if I did enough, I should have done more, if only I'd taken those supplements, if only I'd gone to fertility yoga classes, if only I'd kept up with the acupuncture. You know, their mind is spinning with all the things that they're already doing and they want to be doing, and it is too much. It's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming for your mind, it's overwhelming for your body. And what it can actually mean is that you're making frantic choices, you're doing too much on your journey, and you're doing everything a little bit. You know, you're doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you're not really focusing on anything well enough or long enough to see the changes that it could bring. So doing too much I see as actually often more of a problem, a bigger problem, than not doing enough, despite us worrying that we're not doing enough. So just adding another thing into our fertility plan, don't we? And just another thing and another thing, and then we're overwhelmed. So instead, bringing that frantic kind of worried, fear-based behaviour down a notch or 2 can be really helpful to then help us make really good, clear decisions, choose well what you want to do on your journey, and then dedicate yourself to it. Really commit to it, you know, for the 3 months or however long that you may need for that particular action, whether it's eating a fertility diet, whether it is having acupuncture, whether it's taking herbs, whatever it is you're committing to doing, sticking with it long enough and being patient to see the great results that they'll bring. So that's the one mistake, the first one that I see, is people doing too much. Does that sound like you? Are you doing a lot at the moment? You know, it's good to take an inventory and have a look. Number 2 is self-prescribing. Now, I know, because I've been through this journey myself, that, you know, you quickly become a fertility expert yourself, don't you? You read so many books, you do so much research, because you have to, you know, you're within this journey, you're learning about it as you go, and we start to feel like we know a lot more than anyone else does, definitely more than our friends do who have never been through fertility struggles. And actually then we go to doctors and we think, well, do we know more than the doctor who is prescribing these medications to me? Do I know more about my body and in a more holistic way? And potentially you do know different things, absolutely, because you're looking at it in a different way. However, I have a huge kind of caution banner here about self-prescribing. Because it is good to be aware, it's good to educate yourself on your own fertility situation, on all the options that are out there, but be wary of creating your own fertility treatment plan without professional advice. Now, think first of all, you wouldn't go ahead, would you, with a medicated IUI cycle, for example, or IVF even, you know, by yourself, would you? You wouldn't go and, you know, choose the drugs and choose how much you're going to take of them and prescribe them yourself without guidance from your doctor and from nurses. You just wouldn't think of doing that. It would feel dangerous. It would feel, you know, really risky behaviour. And it is, you know, quite obviously. That's why you don't see IVF cycles available to purchase, you know, in a fertility shop online. You have to go and get professional advice to guide you through that. Now, however, we do look at more natural approaches in a different way, don't we? Whether it be vitamins, supplements, herbs, you know, we look at those that actually we feel like we can do no harm. We feel like it's quite easy to self-prescribe them and just pick them off the shelf and create our own mixture of different tablets we're taking and different herbs we're concocting, and then prescribing ourselves, a fertility treatment plan. However, there is just as much risk associated with many of these approaches as there would be if you were self-prescribing medication, pharmaceutical medication, but it's not really recognised in the same way. You still need to think about the dose that you're taking. You still need to think about interactions and side effects, and of course your unique diagnosis about what's going on within your body, what is going on biochemically within your body that needs treating, whether that is with pharmaceuticals or whether it is with herbs. Now, this isn't my area of expertise. This is more of my colleague Andrew Loosely, who I'm going to be talking about towards the end of this video with you, about how you can get support from both of us. But I know that this is a real hot topic for him, and when people come to work with him, many are self-prescribing and actually doing some things that are quite dangerous often, with prescribing herbs that they buy off the shelf, or mixing different fertility supplements together that actually interact and create problems. So self-prescribing is the second top mistake that I see people make on their fertility journeys, that at best waste time, because you'll try an approach, it doesn't work, and then you have to try another one and it doesn't work. So you're wasting time with that kind of trial and error self-prescribing. And at worst, it can actually be dangerous or toxic. So it definitely is something to look at, and rein yourself in if you feel tempted to just go and, buy jars and jars of supplements and hope that magic mixture does the trick. The third top mistake is taking action without clarity. Okay, now this is something we all do all the time in many areas in our life, and we do it for lots of different reasons. Now, when you're on a fertility journey, it's quite natural that you want to move ahead and you want to move quickly, and you want to do things that are going to hopefully give you that chance of conceiving your baby. However, you make the best decisions and you take the best actions when you have all the information available to you. When you've had your tests and you've got those results and you've had them interpreted, and you've consulted maybe a range of different professionals for different areas of your fertility health, or maybe your overall general health when you're looking at yourself holistically. But we do tend to rush, don't we, with our fertility? We're aware of time, we're aware of that ticking clock that we're told so much about. Maybe you're aware of egg reserve and you want to rush through and go ahead with an IVF cycle, and your doctor's saying, look, you need to go ahead now with IVF if you're going to. And this is very common, is people going ahead with treatment cycles, whether that's IVF or something else, before actually all the information is there, before you really understand what your true fertility issues are and what the problem is. I've heard of women also being prescribed Clomid, the drug to induce ovulation, to hopefully with a view of improving ovulation and giving them a chance of conceiving. But I've seen women prescribed 6 months of Clomid. It hasn't worked, and at the end of that, their partner has finally been tested with their semen analysis, and that wasn't even looked at before. And in some cases, that was then found to be the problem, that there was a low sperm count or some other significant issue with their partner. And no amount of a woman taking Clomid is ever going to improve a man's sperm count, is it? So getting all the information before making these crucial decisions is going to save time, stress, and ultimately making your journey more successful, which is what you want, of course, is that outcome of having your baby and taking the right path to get there. So these three I see all the time. The clarity one at the end I see as a big one, and I see often that is related to the emotional aspects of us feeling stressed and panicked and worried and moving forward anyway without having the right information, without making good choices. It's a bit like you're making decisions in the dark, isn't it? You're thinking, right, which path am I going to take? And you're just kind of feeling your way, and you can't really see what those paths look like, and you can't see if they're right for you. So it's time to put the lights on, to get your tests done, to get advice on what tests need doing from a holistic perspective. As I said, some doctors will not understand the natural path. Some natural practitioners will not understand the medical path, so it's combining experts from different areas, or indeed finding a holistic expert who can advise you on this whole picture, which I do highly recommend Andrew for that, and I'll talk about a bit that in a second. But getting your research done, your tests done, and then making good decisions, with clarity and ease and comfort and less stress and worry behind them. So there's the three that I see all of the time. The doing too much, being overwhelmed, not doing anything very well because we're doing too much. The self-prescribing and potentially causing quite dangerous situations with mixing different supplements and herbs and so on. And then taking actions without clarity, not being clear on your situation and what is really needed for you to improve your fertility and conceive your baby, and making those decisions, perhaps going ahead for IVF, for example, or taking Clomid or something else too soon before you have all the information to hand. Now, it's understandable why we see these, because we do want quick results and we want to do something, don't we? We want to be proactive. I remember being in that state, and I have definitely made these mistakes myself during my fertility journey, which spanned a number of years. But these can be counterproductive. You know, these actions that we're taking with best intentions can then waste time, waste money, and mean that we're having to start over and over again because we're not getting the results that we want, and we're back to square one again, trying to formulate our own plan. So what I'd like to do today is to give you a solution and give you a way to cut through these mistakes and leave them behind, and actually find your own path forward towards having your baby that is much simpler. So I'd love to invite you to join myself and Andrew Loosely, who I just mentioned. Andrew is a Chinese medicine fertility expert. He has helped many, many couples all over the world find their own way forward in conceiving their baby, advising them holistically, looking at them from both an Eastern perspective and a Western medical model perspective, and really finding what's going on underneath the surface. What are the real reasons why you're not getting pregnant? I work from the mindset perspective, looking at the emotional side, and of course bringing the mind and body together. We know that they are one, they don't work independently of each other. So the mindset, your emotional aspects are so crucial to bring alongside the physical side that Andrew talks about. So what we'd like to invite you to do is to join both of us for one day. Spend a day with us, and spend a day with us in the comfort of your own home, because we're running an online workshop called Be Fertile. Now, this is the first time that we have brought so much information together into one place and share it with you all at once. You may be familiar with Andrew's and mine's online events that we often run, his Fertility Question Time, my telesummits, hour-long or 90-minute long presentations where we share as much information as we possibly can pack into that time, whether that is about should I have IVF, whether it's about the kind of fertility tests, whether it's about using EFT to unlock emotional blocks to conceiving. You know, we've covered a wide range of topics before, but we've only had that short period of time to share them with you. This time we're dedicating a whole day to going through a plan and creating, you know, what you need to follow in order to conceive your baby, looking at it from a totally holistic perspective. This is the Be Fertile online fertility workshop. It's happening on Saturday, the 15th of July. We only have 100 spaces available, and they're booking up quickly. The tickets are only £29. It's an absolute bargain for a full day spending that with myself and Andrew, and also having the ability to ask us questions on Facebook in a private group, connect with each other as well as you plan out what your next steps are on your fertility journey with all this new information. And you'll also receive a PDF workbook as well. So as you're attending the workshop with us, you'll be able to make your own notes, you'll be able to plan, you'll be able to get really clear on what is going on in your fertility situation and what you're going to do next to conceive your baby. It's so exciting to have all this planned, ready to deliver to you on the 15th of July. Now, we planned it for a Saturday, so hopefully as many of you as possible can join us live when you're not at work. However, we realise that time zones can be an issue, or perhaps you already have plans as well. So you will have the recording of this full event as well. So you'll be able to join us live on the 15th, and you'll also receive the recording afterwards. You'll have your PDF workbook to get your plan together, and you can connect with us in our private Facebook group just for Be Fertile attendees. So how amazing does that sound? We're so excited to bring this to you, and I'd love you to join us now. So we're almost 50% booked up on our 100 tickets, so do come in and grab yourself a ticket too at just £29. I'm going to put the link below in the comments so you can join us via our Eventbrite link, and grab your ticket. Tell your friends as well. It's going to be an amazing event, and just think you can sit at home just like you are now listening in to this short video on Facebook. You can join myself and Andrew Loosely and have a full day of really clarity-inducing, thought-provoking, lots of information content that is going to make it so clear for you on your fertility journey. So if you find that you've been making those mistakes, let's make a decision together now to stop that and to move forward and take some really positive action. I hope to see you at Be Fertile. It's going to be a fantastic day, and I wish you all the best on your fertility journey. Take care. Bye-bye.